starting the stream. Well, hello everyone and welcome to the last 30 minutes here of day 4 as you'd like to call it really in Bahrain, because this is the 4th day of that we've had in Bahrain this preseason. And I do have a co-commentator with me. I've got James Carwin with me.
Hello everybody, and I'm in the commentary box for the first of many times this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing some cars go around the track and talking to you about that.
Yep. I'm not sure if, because Toby Jones has just gone out on track, and I believe he is on a lap at the moment. He's just started a lap because he is on the super soft tyre. But just to run you down what's happened so far in testing, it's at the moment. I mean, if you look at like the timesheets regarding it, because obviously this is just the afternoon bit, the times that there is, but it's currently Woodessie who's topping the timesheets on a 26.740. Just have Toby Jones on 26.808. Milner, Masterful's having a good day. Chantal Hawk's day ended early because of an engine failure. Abby Leggett's currently 5th, but she set her time on the soft tyre. How do you think testing's gone this winter? What do you think's been the most interesting development?
Yeah, it's been quite interesting, first of all, to see the problems that a lot of cars have had with reliability. It's been very bad, especially for DMAD. They've had a very poor winter, and also I found interesting Jonas Roker keeping a pretty sizable gap. There definitely looks like the rivals are a lot closer than last year, but they've still got a pretty sizable gap, and Coombs GP seems to be resurgent over this winter so far.
Toby Jones has just completed a 126. I mean, on these super soft tyres, he seems to be consistently lapping on his first runs in the 126.8. But Woodessie's fastest time from this morning was actually on the hard tyre. Maybe the Yanata Roker is a very good car on the hard tyres. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, you would really think that they'd be about a second off the pace. Even with a quicker car, you'd probably think that they'd be a second off the pace on the hards compared to the super softs. Massive delta in tyres there. So yeah, they've really done a great job there.
And this has been the theme that I've been thinking ever since the first test in Jerez. Maybe the hard tyre suits the Yanata Roker a lot more than other cars. Maybe it just suits the Yanata Roker really well. And then that would really help them, because then if it does prove to be the better tyre for them, it would really help them, because they wouldn't have to do as much stops, but would still be really competitive. How do you think that would work?
Yeah, that would give them a real good strategic options in every single race. They'd always be able to do less stops, not have to worry about traffic as much. Then it would just free everything up for them and make things a little bit less stressful for them. So yeah, that would be a really good thing for them if that is indeed the case, and it looks like it is.
Yeah, also another thing we're going to talk about is Shantana, because the car that they tested last week apparently was what Skip It did in 2014. Basically a prototype version of their car. Now they've got the actual car here in terms of the full specification, and now they are really good. They seem to, I mean, there's probably still, like, I'd say the 13th fastest team, but they seem still quite close to the other midfield teams as well, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a weird year for them. Obviously, last year they weren't too competitive, and now they've been taken over by Manic Motorsports, a big company. You kind of would expect Manic Motorsports by themselves to be quite high up, but let's not forget that they're taking over a pretty small team here in Shantana, and it's still very much that Shantana team from last year that struggled. So yeah, they'll be pretty happy, to be honest, with because the testing so far.
Shantana obviously are a very small team. They were a sister team last year run by Dork. A lot of the people that were at the Shantana team last year are still there. Obviously, but it was a sister team owned by Dork, but now they are owned by the Manic Motorsports. And do you think we are looking at how many teams do you think will score points this year?
That's a tough one. I think that 13 teams will score this season. I think it'll be everyone apart from Speedtech and HWR. But even those are possible to get points because they do seem a bit closer than they were last year.
Yeah,
So,
it's been. Yeah, and also the other, or effectively new team, the Team Mossad by MAT. They still have the Mossad name, but now they're MAT run. How do you think they've done so far?
Yeah, they've had a pretty solid testing, I'd say, for a new team. They'll be happy that they've managed to move the forward team even with a load of changes. Obviously, Mossad had a very poor season last season, and they look a lot higher up than that, even with a lot of changes over the winter. So yeah, they're going to be happy with how things have gone so far.
Yeah, but because they did actually announce their takeover quite early, so maybe that's helped them quite a bit.
Yeah, giving them time. Yeah,
They could build a car, and also the rookies. Rosie O'Driscoll. I mean, she's not in the car today. I believe she's in the car tomorrow. How do you think she's done so far this winter?
Yeah, she's looked very good. She's been able to, on her days that she's been going, really put the Coombs GP into a good position, showing that she's carried over that pace from CGP2. Looks like she could be a genuine threat to Toby Jones. So,
yeah, in her rookie season. Yeah, many people are speculating that she might win a race in her rookie season. Can you see that happening?
I can, yeah, I can see it. We saw, even though last year Jonas Roker were doing really well, we did see a lot of other race winners, and Rosie O'Driscoll was definitely able to be to the rest position to take over. If Jonas Roker do have problems, yeah, there's a good chance.
How do you think Toby Jones do you think Toby Jones will finish ahead in the end stat when the season ends?
I would think so. I think those years of experience for Toby would be able to make him put together a better season. So I would expect him to finish ahead. But I'm not going to say that Rosie O'Driscoll definitely will lose to him. She's got a chance if she can keep consistent. And yeah, she could put up a real good fight against him.
As you can see, you've got Wesley behind Abby Ledger in the Mossad. But also, talking about the other rookies, how do you think Phoebe, obviously reigning CGP2 champion, how do you think Phoebe O'Connor's done in the RTS so far? I mean, she was announced quite early last year, so she has had, and also did many Thursday sessions with the team, so has had plenty of time to get used to the team, get used to driving a CRC car. How do you think that has helped her going into this year? And do you think she could be in for a good season?
Yeah, so far I would think that she is on for a pretty good season, and it's almost as if she's got kind of a couple of races under her belt. The amount of practice sessions she did was a lot.
She did 7 practice sessions last year.
Yeah, and quite a few in a row as well. It was quite a lot towards the end of the season, so a real good feeling for what it's like to be a CRC driver. And yeah, she's transferred that into testing so far and did a pretty solid job. Obviously, it's a bit harder to tell when you're not right at the front and you're in that midfield where tyre choice and everything makes a massive difference on positions. It's hard to tell, but she's done a pretty solid job so far, I'd say.
Also, how do you think Abby Ledger has done so far as well?
Yeah, she's looked very impressive as well. Like with Rosie, she's looked like she's been able to put up a challenge to the more experienced driver, and actually in some cases she's looked like the quicker driver. But again, we don't know on time, as maybe Tussa's working on the more development side of it, and Ledger's just trying to go for the flat-out laps. I don't know about that, but Ledger has been doing a pretty good job here.
And also the other two rookies, I mean, James Lang and Bex Howie are in an HWR and a Speedtech, but how do you think they're going to do this year?
Yeah, it's a tough one to tell. I think James Lang should be pretty close to Louis Hyde on pace. Louis Hyde's obviously been around a lot of series and has kind of been in and out of CLC, so he's not really that experienced. He's done a bit, but I think James Lang will be able to compare to Louis Hyde. And Bex Howie has been doing a lot of series again. She was CGP2 champion 2014, and then moving to the CRC Classic Series as like a reserve kind of person. And then she's been doing Formula E, so she's been around a lot. Whether that will transfer into CRC, I don't know. But obviously she's at a low team, so expectations for her aren't going to be too high.
Yeah. I mean, Bex Howie was called up quite late because obviously it was going to be Santiago Fernandez in that car, and then they had all the mess about them having to change their driver. I'm not going to actually talk about that because it's kind of a long story, the reason why it happened, but Bex Howie was his replacement, and she's not the only person. It was Jack Baldwin, and this is actually his first day in the car. Do you think it's good that because he left Electromanic Motorsports in KSR Formula E, do you think it's good he's getting this chance?
Yeah, I think for him, a lot of the reason why he took a sabbatical for this season was that he was worried about being sacked. But then he turned his form around, and he would have definitely kept that seat. And,
but by then, he'd already signed a contract for KSR Formula E. So
and I think he was a little bit disappointed, actually, when he went to Formula E, that he wasn't winning races straight away. Everyone thought that he was really going to dominate that series, but he hasn't. So it's good that he's got his chance back. I think he'll have a solid season, really. Yeah.
Do you think Joshua Moores was right to call it a day?
It's a tough one. I don't think, if you look at Guindano so far testing, they look okay, but nothing special. I don't think he would have had a great season. He would have had would have been a much better end to his career than last year, but it wouldn't have been an incredible season. It probably was the best decision for the team. I'm not sure about himself, but I mean, it wasn't a terrible decision. He wasn't going to do that great this season, so yeah, maybe it was right to call it a day.
Yeah, and also going into this season, who do you think it is going to be fighting for the championship this year?
So far, I think you'd be mad to bet against the Autorokas, really. We did see it last season, where for a while Toby Jones was able to keep up with it was Will Astley, I think he was keeping up with almost for a fair amount of the season, but then the Autoroka, once they started getting over reliability problems and stuff for Astley, Jones kind of fell away. So I think it might similar to that, someone might be able to be close, but really it's going to be the two Autorokas. And out of those two, I'd back Astley to do it again.
Yep, and also going into this season, having lost a 67-point lead last year, how much of a psychological blow do you think that is? Do you think that's going to affect him going into this season? Do you think that's going to, the fact that he threw away a championship that was clearly there for the taking last year, do you think that's going to affect his mindset going into this season?
Yes, I think it will, but I think actually, for a positive reason, I think that he's going to be desperate to get back that championship that he cost himself by crashing in Brazil. He's going to be completely distraught about that for the rest of his life, probably. But he's going to be desperate to get back this championship. Hopefully, he can channel that desperation in a good way. And you would think that as a top quality driver, he would be able to do that. But if he doesn't, he could end up just going completely mad about not winning the championship, which could end up badly. But if he channels it right, it could be a positive impact for him.
Yeah, but still, also, Walesi probably goes into this season with the momentum, obviously, off the back of 5 straight wins. He's coming in off the back of a fantastic end to the season that he had last year, including a win from last place. Surely the momentum's going to be with... I mean, I know there would have been like a 3-month break between the races when the race gets underway in Melbourne, but still, you've got to think that the momentum's with him. And
yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to think he's unbeatable for the first few races because he was at the end of last season. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be Will Astley is going to be the quicker driver, and it's just whether he can put together a better season than he did last season, which was a little bit all over the place in the mid part of the season. Yeah. If he could do that, I'm pretty sure he'll win. But He's got the momentum for sure.
Interestingly, Yanasa Roca have opted to give Alex Moores a bit more time in the car than Will Esley this test. Do you think that's understandable? The fact that they've given Alex Moores more time in the car than Will?
Yeah, I would say that. I think as a driving style, Will Esley is able to get to grips with things a little bit quicker. I think he's more naturally talented. And therefore that kind of, I feel, means that he doesn't need quite as much time in the car as Alex Moore. So yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I think we are in for a very interesting season as Will Esley actually is going back out on track for his final. But what has happened in all the tests bar the first day in Jerez is Yanasa Roca has lasted the whole day till like 20 minutes from the end. Something broke. I mean, that's not happened yet today, but that might happen today because Yanasa Roca have not proved to be bulletproof, have they?
No, I think pretty much everyone has had problems. Who was it? There were a couple of teams that still didn't have problems, I think it was.
Only Guindana now. I mean,
only Guindana.
Guindana haven't had any stoppages yet.
But yeah, it does look like the Yanasa Roca are not bulletproof at all, and the YRT engine in other teams has also had a lot of problems. CGP in the first test demoed over the entire thing. So yeah, that will be a worry for them. I guess they'll work on that before Australia and throughout the season. Just manage the engine.
Quite close on potentially there between Milliner and Jones. Actually, Milliner, his ex-teammate last year. Who's at Racing Team Simba? I'm sorry, but what is this logo? What logo is he talking about? What? I don't even know what logo he's talking about. Oh no, someone's added Santiago back to the chat. Right, let's put pay to that. Who unblocked him? Someone unblocked him. Oh, oops, that was not meant to happen, to go up for it. I think I know who did.
Anyway, back to testing.
Yeah.
So I'll get too sidetracked.
I was having a look to see. Obviously, just to see if Legit's had any problems because she's in the garage. But only one driver in the second part has actually had a problem. Two drivers have had problems, and that is Hawk and Quintanilla. The car's been a bit more reliable. Quintanilla actually crashed. Quintanilla actually crashed. He didn't actually have any problems, but DMAD have had a terrible off-season, haven't they?
Yeah, it has been problem after problem after problem. I'm not even sure if they actually done a day where they had a problem.
I think they have. Oh, what is that's a very slow-moving Tove. That is definitely a gearbox failure right there for David Bland. And that will be the end of his running for today. It looks like he's stuck in quite a low gear. He is going quite slowly. What gear is he stuck in? Second gear he's stuck in.
Could be quite dangerous around that speed.
Yeah, we saw CGP3 not Russia last year when Sam Venables was going really slowly on the racing line and he got taken out by Alex Chittock.
Yeah, DMAD have had all kinds of problems. Really hasn't been a good test at all for them.
And what's happened to Tove, would you say? Because, I mean, talking about Tove, in the Jerez test, they showed a lot of promise and they looked really quick. They haven't shown that promise recently in Bahrain, have they? Maybe it's just the Jerez track really suits them.
Yeah, I could think that was the only explanation because, yes, there were a lot of upgrades brought to the first Bahrain test and the second Bahrain test, but I don't think that they would move down that much. These upgrades can't be gaining. It can't mean that Tove have dropped from what looked like 6th fastest car to 10th or 11th fastest car. They've. It must just be the track, yeah.
I'm pretty sure David Bland will go into the pits. Oh, he's continuing round. I'm not sure. I think he just wants maybe to get some data. He's going to blow the engine. Weird scenes at Tove. Weird scenes in the Tove. I'm just going to obviously got to take a screenshot for the Twitter. As Chloe, and also I haven't spoken about Lockyer yet. How do you think they're looking in this test?
Yeah, they've looked really good. I mean, they were late coming to it, and they were in financial problems last year, so it's been a really good turnaround for them.
Yeah, they look like they're really amongst the midfield runners, don't they?
Yeah, they'll be thrilled, I think, and I think it kind of helps for them that they've managed to retain Carrie-Anne Peace, who had a good season, and bring in Chloe Carter, I think, as an up-and-coming good driver. Not, but a pretty good driver. Probably a step forward from Farrah Smith, who struggled last season. And yeah, the car looks good, solid, and they're going to be really, really happy with how testing is going, and hope that they can take it to the season when it counts.
But it's going to be. Can you see them scoring points?
Yeah, I think they can. I do see them struggling with development. Still, see not got that much resources to be using, but yeah, it would be interesting to see if they can get good points in the first couple of races, and see then if they can carry it on from there.
I wonder if David Bland's going to continue. He's just destroying. I don't know why he's staying out. He's just destroying everyone's laps. And he's continuing to stay out. I think he ruined Toby Jones's lap slightly. Because he just did a lap. And he's continuing to stay. I think he maybe is wanting to get some data.
I think I know what he's trying to do. He's seen that Ledger and Julian have got 71 laps. And he's wondering that if they pit and peel in, he can get the most laps of the afternoon session. That's what he's trying to do, I reckon. Oh no, I thought he was.
Marco Efords, how do you think he's done in the speed tech?
Yeah, I think he's done pretty well. I mean, obviously it's a bit of a weird decision because he's not actually eligible to drive this season.
But he's allowed to test.
Yeah. It's a bit of an odd decision why they're using him so early in the season. But yeah, he's done okay.
The Guindana has had its first stoppage of the season, of the off-season.
No.
Jack Baldwin has had to stop the car. So what's happened to him? So Jack Baldwin has stopped out on track. So that means all teams have stopped at least once so far this winter. So what actually happened to Jack Baldwin? All teams have had. Did it actually have something to do with the Shantana? It might have. Wait. I think it might have had something to do with the Shantana of Harvey Williams. No, he's gone there. Let's see what actually happened then. I'm presuming he must have had a mechanical drama then. It's quite a long way. No, I think that was a brake failure.
Yeah. Well, you put it on the curb a bit, but it...
No, then he had to stop.
Oh.
No, I think there was something else that...
Yeah.
Yep, so something else caused the failure. So that is the
Could have made
first.
it back to the pits and made it not look like a failure.
Yeah. As Luke Jordan goes into the pits, Marco Efos heads into the pits as well. So now every team have had to have a stoppage so far, but Guindana to have gone to now without a failure. Of course, no team as reliable as the Mercedes W07. That car being so reliable that it fatigues the drivers.
Yeah. They're on to do around about a season's worth of mileage, race mileage,
In
8 days of testing. Yeah. Yeah, they've so far they've done 10 races worth of mileage.
I think Bowman can be lucky that this did not happen earlier, because it's his first time in the car, so it's obviously crucial running. But he's got some good mileage today as Jack Baldwin, his first go in the car. So but we've got 2 minutes and a half left of the first day of proceedings in the second part of the Bahrain testing, because we had some Bahrain testing last week. But Will Estley's just panning around. This is actually going to be his last experience of the car until Melbourne for Will Estley, for the reigning champion, because Alex Morse takes over for the final 2 days tomorrow. So with these final, what do you think Will Estley is thinking at the moment in terms of what he has to do, because it's his last go in the car till Melbourne?
He's probably going to go flat out, I would say, for this last little bit. Because obviously you don't always get a feeling in testing for the full capabilities of the car on a flying lap if you're taking it easy just because it's testing. So you might give it a go here, just for a lap, see what it's like.
Another thing to talk about, what do you think of the return of basically a Formula E Super Pole? We had this in 2014, 2013 and 2012 in qualifying in CRC. But basically the same as Formula E Super Pole, but with Q3 and the final 10 drivers. Just to explain it to viewers, what do you think of the return of that for this year?
Yeah, it's good because it puts the pressure on the drivers to be able to deliver, and yeah, I like it. I think it's a pretty good idea, and it works out the problems of traffic as well. Which is, always
in
good to have when you're
Q3, it
looking
can just
for-
be.
Yeah.
It can just be the pure pace. David Bland is still going round with his gearbox
Well, there
failure.
goes Will Estley's.
Lap.
He's going to go for it on the last lap.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Yeah.
There goes. I mean, it's only testing, but... Oh, that was close there for Chloe Carter.
David Bland just doesn't give a crap.
Put in.
David Bland just doesn't give a crap about anything.
But I think he's probably just getting some data. I think that's probably why he's staying out, just trying to get some data. Some further data. But the Tobe is a very small looking car from the side, isn't it? If you look at it from here,
Yeah, very compact.
yeah. It's a very compact car, the Tobe, isn't it? But
Yeah, that can be a good thing, can be a bad thing.
yeah, but looking at the times, just making sure I've got the right times for everyone. But Hawk improved to 27.248. The checkered flag is out, and it's lagging quite a bit because I'm not clicked on it.
And now plan finally.
Put in,
Now he finally comes in.
albeit at the end of the session, and my PC's being a bit. But a very interesting day it's been, hasn't it, of testing?
Yep.
What do you read into today?
I think today just shows the on-the-stroke pace advantage quite clearly. Also, a strong day for Coombs GP. They'll be happy with their work. Mass will be happy as well.
Yeah. Mars was, I think that was probably their best day of the off-season so far. Their best day so far. It's Wesley who has ended day 4 in Bahrain on top, ahead of Toby Jones and Dan Milner. And they've continued their stranglehold. They've continued their stranglehold of topping all test sessions, ahead of Toby Jones and Dan Milner, and they are the top 3 from today. It's gonna be, I think we are in for an interesting season this year. Do you think so?
Yeah, it should be tighter pack. Reliability problems could make for an interesting championship.
Yeah. But we're going to do a run through of each team once I've just tweeted the result of day 4. I need to remember to also publish it on the site. I actually forgot to with day 3, which was not very professional of me, but I'm going to make sure I don't forget on day 4. But it's Wesley who has topped the timesheets on a 126.740, ahead of Toby Jones on a 126.808. Dan Milner was third on a 127.147, ahead of Chantal Hawke in fourth on a 127.248. Fifth, it was Abby Leggett in her final day in the car on a 127.421, ahead of Lucy Woodward on a 127.453, also in her final day in the car before Melbourne. Jack Baldwin, a 127.846, was 7th in his first day in the car, ahead of Lucas Quintanilla on a 128.076. I mean, despite not doing much mileage, they did look faster today than they had, albeit that time was set on the soft tyre. Chloe Carter, 9th on a 28.077, ahead of Luke Julian on a 28.613. David Bland, 11th on a 28.728, ahead of Louise Moore on a 28.777. Harvey Williams was 13th on a 128.939, ahead of Louis Hyde, 14th on 130.387, with Marco Efods 15th on a 130.668. And that is the timesheets. And then, before we wrap up, we are actually going to add up, like to see who's had the most mileage. We are actually going to add that up. We are actually going. That will be added up. So, out of all the teams, Yanata Roca today did 148 laps, the most that they have done since day 1. They've had a good day today, haven't they?
Yeah, really strong day for them in all departments.
Yep. 75 laps in the afternoon session. Coombs GP did 141 laps today, so a good day for Coombs GP. Masterforce did 143 laps, probably their best day, or not in terms of mileage, but in terms of pace. Clearly, they were going for more pace today than others than they were before, and a very good day for them for Masterforce, wasn't it?
Yeah, they'll be happy with their day's work. And something to build on, definitely, going into the season.
Not a great day for Dork, though, with 2 failures, was it?
No, they lost quite a lot of running.
They only did 104 laps.
Not ideal.
Yep, 104 laps was not really the amount that they would have wanted to do. Obviously, Baranasso did 74 laps in the afternoon session, and they did 151 laps today, which is a good amount. Guindana, despite their stoppage, did do 139 laps, but still that's their least amount they've had all pre-season. But they have really got a lot of mileage in. Lockie did 68 laps today in the afternoon session. That means they did 142 laps today. They've really bursted onto the scene in Bahrain, haven't they?
Yeah, they're going to be really happy with how things have gone so far.
Yep, it was a good day for the Mossad team after only doing 48 laps on the final day in Bahrain. That the whole day in the final day in Bahrain, the least anyone's had over any day. But 146 laps Abbey Legit did today, so that hopefully for them has made up for that. I need to get these ratings away because they're so I can actually get the lap times. So I can actually see. A bad day for D-Man, and despite actually looking quicker today, they didn't have a good day. They only did 70 laps today. Did Lucas Quinton either. CGP, a reasonable day for them. Just trying to find them on the mileage charts. They've had quite a good off-season, to be honest, despite a bit of a rough start. They did 149 laps today. Decent day for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a pretty good tally for them, so they're going to be pleased with that.
Despite having a few of it with a gearbox failure, Tove did 147 laps today. So, obviously they were trying to get the mileage in still. RTS, they have done a reasonable amount of mileage, but they have kind of dropped off recently, but Louise Morrow did 104 laps after losing a lot of running this morning. Did 104 laps, so exactly the same amount as Dork did. Shantana, an okay day for them. They did 143 laps and they looked quicker. HWR, they did 144 laps today. So, decent, and we're ahead of SpeedTech for the first time in quite a few days. SpeedTech seem to have really moved ahead of HWR, haven't they?
Yeah, HWR looked tiny bit quicker at the start of Jerez, but they definitely lost that.
SpeedTech did 149 laps. So now looking at who's topping the mileage charts now. Quintana lead the way, having done 1,027 laps this off-season, ahead of Masterforce, who have done 1,013. CGP are in third, who have done 1,009 laps, ahead of Tove, who've done 1,007, albeit quite a few of them with a gearbox failure. HWR are in fifth on 993, ahead of KumGP on 976 in sixth. Yanataroka are in 7th on 942, with Baranasso in 8th on 936. Mossad have moved back up to 9th on 912, ahead of SpeedTech in 10th on 901. RTS have done 884, ahead of Dork, who've done 882. D-Man have only done 781, and then the two latecomers, Shantana have done 560, and Noki have done 537 laps. So, that is the mileage chart. So, that is it from the first day in Jerez. Not in Jerez, the fourth day, in fact, in Bahrain. Obviously, join us tomorrow. I believe it's going to be, we're going to get underway at 5 in the afternoon tomorrow for the first session in tomorrow. And then that'll be for the second preseason test. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully James will be with me for the last half an hour as well. I believe the last half an hour will start at 8:30 tomorrow. Obviously an hour later than today. So hopefully he'll be there, and obviously I'll be there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Sure, yeah.